Today on Heavy Metal Frequency, I'm reviewing Joe Satriani, Crystal Planet. And the one suggestion I would have had with this is one of the complaints is that there's too many songs. It's 15 tracks. I would not say there are too many songs. I would say that this should have been cut into two different releases. One is Crystal, one is Planet. Put 7 tracks on one disc, put 8 tracks on the other, or the reciprocal. So, because I say that not because it's too many tracks, but because each has a different, after a certain point, the album kind of shifts to, okay, so it starts out like a instrumental rock. I consider this more of a rock album than a metal album. It's one of those non-metal reviews, sort of. There are some elements of things like proto-doom, shred metal, stuff like that, but it's still... This is heavily steeped or mired, whatever you want to say, in instrumental rock music. There's some psychedelic rock. Up in the Sky is like a really interesting, virtuistic, really catchy song. House Full of Bullets is like a slightly funky blues rock song. Pretty much everything on here is really good. Drumblend starts with Joe yelling into his pickups. It's kind of like an experimental rock vibe. There's some psychedelic rock on here. It ends with, the whole album ends with ZZ's song. It's like a vamping track that ends the whole album. And so this is something you need to spend a lot of time with, not necessarily due to the complexity, because Joe Satriani is an amazing guitarist, but he's more like, he's kind of more like there's a sense of minimalism in his playing, and he does the shred metal stuff, but he uses fewer notes sometimes, kind of like, something about Miles Davis. I heard a quote that Miles Davis could say as much in 3 or 4 notes as another jazz musician could say in 30. Joe's kind of like that sometimes, which is really cool. There's a sense of minimalism to some of his stuff. And so that really comes through in a lot of this material. Raspberry Jam Delta 5 is really excellent. Lights of Heaven is one of my favorite songs on here. Both of those are 2 of my favorite songs. Ceremony with Jupiter in Mind. There's just so much good stuff on here. It's just that it's a massive amount of material, and it starts to differentiate from itself a little bit over halfway through the album. And so I love this. I just feel like, what if this had been released as kind of like Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion, like one is Crystal, one is Planet. That would have been really cool. But this is a great album, and you should spend a lot of time with it, because there's just so much material here, and I really love listening to it. And this is part of, I have Joe Satriani's one of his album collections, and I'm going to be doing this in installments. And this is over the course of however many videos, and this is the first of that, and I don't know when I'm going to get to the second part, but I will at some point. Ha.